Hi, my name's Greg. I'm a medical health scientist at the School of Health Science, and today we're going to have a look at the process that you should be doing every day, and that's exercise. It might seem quite simple on the surface, and it is. You should take part in exercise, but it's quite a complicated process involving many different systems in the body, ultimately serving your skeletal muscles that enable you to run and jump and play and do all those games that you like to do in, say, your physical education classes or weekend sport. So where does it start? The best thing you could probably do is pretend you're an oxygen molecule. And if you're in the air, the first place that you'll enter the body is the upper respiratory tract, being the nose, or if you're really exercising quite vigorously, the mouth. So the air will be drawn in through the upper respiratory tract. Where does that air go? It gets drawn back through the nose and will follow the trachea down to this primary organ. We've got one here, and you'd normally have another one on the other side, and that's your lungs. And we've got lung on both sides, the left and the right side. And the lungs' job is to distribute that air down to the level of the alveoli so we can bring the oxygen into the blood supply. Okay? Now the best analogy we can think of there is this surface area is actually as big as a tennis court. So if I was to take all those alveoli in this lung and spread it out across the ground, we'd have a tennis court worth of space to move oxygen from your alveoli into your bloodstream. So it's quite a large space, very beneficial for getting oxygen into your blood. But what happens to that oxygen? Once we move oxygen into the bloodstream via the lungs, it has to go back to our central pump, the heart. Now the heart, if we move forward to this larger heart, has a primary job of now pumping blood out to your whole body. And it does it by contracting its chamber, the ventricle, and generating pressure that pushes blood out into one of the largest blood vessels you've got, the aorta. And the aorta is a central tube that then distributes blood to the rest of your body. And so that's quite handy. We can now move blood through the aorta, and if we move over to this specimen, we can see that the aorta is then subsequently connected to many arteries, and they're coloured here in red. So they're coming up to the head, they're coming out to the upper limbs, and they'll be going down to your lower limbs. And the role of the arteries is to distribute blood to all these exercising skeletal muscles. So here you can see the anterior deltoids, and that would be helping flex your arm. It's also coming down to the quadricep muscles at the bottom, and that would be helping flex your leg. So by moving arms and moving legs, that we can perform exercise. Once the skeletal muscles use up that oxygen, we now need to move the deoxygenated blood back to the central pump. And so you can see here in blue the veins, and the veins' job is to move the blood in the reverse direction back to the central pump, but this time on the opposite side. So we're on the right hand side, and you can see now we've got a blue tube being the pulmonary trunk, and the pulmonary trunk's job is to redistribute the blood back to the lungs for reoxygenation. So you can see it's a complete circuit. So by doing that, what we have is a system set up to take oxygen in through the lungs, be distributed by the pump, used by the skeletal muscle, and then eventually reoxygenated via the lungs and the heart again. So exercise is beneficial, and you should be taking it every day to make sure you've got a strong, healthy body.